Welcome to the Wake Up Humans experience.
Prepare attack! Wake up, humans! Feel the fire!
Brought to you by Boondocks Coffee, LifeDE.com, Experience DE Radio. And for all your gear, visit wakeuphumans.org. Spread the word, become part of the movement.
How's your atlas?
Now, here's Dr. Steve Judson with Dr. Drew Henderson.
Wake up!
All right, look at that. Look who showed
There
up
he
right
is.
at the nick of time. Welcome people to another Wake Up Humans podcast. And we got some special guests today. I got my man Drew Henderson and Brian Lieberman just joined us.
What's up?
Yeah, man. It's
What's
a
up,
good
brother?
Monday. Best
It's a
Monday
toast
now.
crapshoot if I'll be
Lieberman's
there.
here.
And we may have one more. He's working a little late, but we'll see what happens here.
Good.
Good stuff. So we're in DE week. It is, what is it, July of 2026 right now to stamp the date. And
Yeah.
this is a big one, man. There's a lot of stuff going on in chiropractic right now. And I feel like a big shift happening right here, man. How you guys thinking?
Phew, man, there's definitely a shift. It's coming, and we're here for it. And I really hope that it is in the favor of principled chiropractic. And I think it is. The principle is alive and well, and we're holding the line.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Brian?
I'm thankful that there's a group like us and some others that hold the line, but there's not a lot.
Nope.
We need to keep growing. We need to keep growing this principle base and keep showing these young students that they can actually become wildly successful and hold on to their morals, ethics, and the principle.
You know, I had a visitor at the office today and we had a pretty cool discussion because this individual didn't really know some of the history behind. They knew the history of what happened to Dr. Sid, but then literally what happened to DE and how DE was getting crushed. Like his loyal supporters that, disappeared. And Dr. Sid tapped us on the shoulder to basically take this over. But when Dick Santo had his Band of Brothers talk at DE, which everyone needs to listen to if you're interested in chiropractic, and how Band of Brothers was formed and basically took over, that's when the magic started happening, man.
That's what definitely saved DE, and I think Dr. Sid and Nell recognized that and realized that we were pretty loyal to him and his brand and to the principle, and asked us if we can, take the torch and try to run with it, and we have.
Yeah.
Yep. DE is it. And Brian, you said earlier that there's not that many of us out there. I think there's more than we know, but it's okay to get a voice and speak up and say, I'm principled. There's a lot of good people out there that are quiet right now.
It's interesting because, everybody gets on the, to say that they're hate traits. I think the mixers are haters, man. I think they're
Yeah.
crappy. I mean, it's if you don't do everything under the sun, or if you're upset that everything under the sun gets done, then, there's something wrong with you. And I've never been of that mentality.
When I see these guys promoting their stuff that we call mixing, it is like 99% of the time I say nothing unless I'm just in a certain mood, and I try not to say nothing. I've got more people now, and it's mostly chiropractors, jumping and commenting on my stuff. Like my TikToks are like going crazy with these comments, and it's chiropractors upset with us talking about being principled. I'm like, are you just, then go, don't watch my TikTok, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, they're like thinking we're angry. I'm like, you're the one coming in my backyard arguing, like leave.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it.
No, and I think they're just being convicted and they feel like they're exposed and they're trying to defend something and that it's really indefensible. So they just take a little pea shooter and try to knock people off a principled pedestal.
As we discussed this, I guess if, 70% of my income came from non-chiropractic things, I'd probably be defending it pretty hard too.
Yeah, that's a well said point, Brian.
You got to realize, and that's another thing I try to remember is that some of these people paid hundreds of $1,000s to go to a chiropractic school, and where these professors who are doctors of chiropractic or whatever told them what chiropractic was and what it wasn't. And, when I'm talking about these schools that don't teach the principle and don't really teach chiropractic, teach everything else, that subluxation doesn't exist. What are they supposed to believe?
Right.
Unless they get exposed accidentally or decide to dig a little deeper, or, you hear some of these people, they came across, Reggie tape, Reggie Gold tapes, or Sigafoos tapes, and like, oh, how come nobody taught me this? But I can't really be mad at somebody for spending hard-earned money, being taught something, and then not knowing that what they were taught has nothing to do with chiropractic.
Right.
Mhm.
And this is why students need to get to DE to get around people that are doing chiropractic so they could hear the other side of the story. It's one thing to have someone whispering in your ear that's never done chiropractic, never succeeded in chiropractic, and then they're telling you what you should be doing. And then to get around people who have thrived serving people, taking care of hundreds of thousands of people and having a blast doing it.
Right.
We could teach you how to do that.
Yeah, and it's a seemingly to me, a much better, I don't know. I just can't imagine just having to figure out the next great thing that's going to make me money, whether now it's shockwave, or, whatever it is, but it's like it always changes.
Yeah.
Here's the next most important vitamin. And I take vitamins. That's not the point. I also, probably the largest referrer in town to the herb shop, to Larry, and to the naturopath, Howard Elrod. And, I don't have to be everything to everybody. As a matter of fact, it's kind of pretty freeing to be like, I don't know, maybe you should go, see if there's other shit going on in your body that might benefit from other things.
Mhm.
Listen, I used to be a massage therapist and I was damn good at it. I worked on professional athletes and all that, never took selfies with them, never bragged about it. But at the end of the day, I love getting my soft tissue work. I tell patients to go ahead and do it. I refer out to it all the time. And I'm glad I don't have to do it anymore. You'll catch me dead standing over a table a half hour, an hour, massaging,
Mhm.
working out a supraspinatus and quadratus lumborum. As much as I loved it when I did it, I'd rather
Yeah.
just get in there and adjust somebody. And, that's more impactful. When I worked the US Open, all these chiropractors weren't allowed in the locker room. These guys were going into Manhattan to get adjusted. Jim Courier, Pete Sampras, Borg, McEnroe. And they loved chiropractic, but they had to go into Manhattan to get it done. But they did. I mean, there was a sign on the wall that said no chiropractors. I'm like, well, that's stupid. Like, they could help these guys. I don't know if it's different today, but this was back in 93, 94, 95, or 94, 93, 94, 95. So I don't know if it's different now, but now that I'm adjusting people and I realize how much more powerful it is than rubbing on someone for 90 minutes, as much as it's important,
Yeah.
you got to get adjusted.
Mhm. Yeah, and just because we know that chiropractors shouldn't be doing certain things, don't mean that we shouldn't do those things. Like like Brian, you take vitamins, I take vitamins, but if a dentist wants to check your prostate, that's a red flag.
Depends on who she is.
Well, I may dip out. I'm getting a little full.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I mean, if, our license says we can do a lot of these things, just doesn't make it chiropractic. And, you know, I don't know. Everybody wants to be everything to everybody. I'm not sure that's the best thing.
I know I'm not good at being a lot of things for many people. I
Right.
just don't have that bandwidth. I become unsustainable. I get tired. I short circuit, and I'm no good for anybody when I'm like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, but it comes like down to like if you need a knee replacement, you want to go to a guy who like does a couple of knees, but does every other joint, or I want a specialist. I want to know somebody. We have a guy in town, knees and shoulders. Those are his two things. He's known for them. And I'm like, that's
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Dude, I
Like,
just got a new patient last week. He had a shoulder replacement 3 months ago. It was like a couple-hour procedure, and he walked out of the office that afternoon. It wasn't even at the hospital, he said. It was like a surgeon. I'm like, they
surgical center.
basically cut your arm off, put a unit in there, and then sent you home. That's freaking awesome.
It's insane.
That's wild.
How do you cut a leg off, put a new hip in, and get him walking in an hour?
What?
Like what?
That's pretty damn amazing, man.
It's amazing. Orthopedic surgery is absolutely incredible. I love orthopedic surgery. Neurosurgery is a whole different story.
Yeah.
A little bit more problematic, but I just think that you could either be try to be everything for everybody, or you could I'm not. I think a lot of people are afraid, or they just want the money, and I understand money's nice, but you can make a pretty good living and still stick to what you think is the right thing to do.
Honestly, these
Yeah.
kids in chiropractic school listening to this can, at their age, put 100 to 200 bucks a month in a Vanguard account. By the time
Oh,
they're our age, they're millionaires.
Just look up VOO, go to Charles Schwab, open up an account, and put $100 a week in it right now. You will. The person who does it, I'll be dead by then. But if you just let my kids know that you heard it from us three,
Yep.
and that holy crap, I had no idea that I do $100 a week, and now I've got $4 million in if I didn't add anything else, if I just kept doing that for the same.
I
So,
wish someone told me that when I was younger, when I was back.
man,
We had no idea of any of this stuff. I don't even think a lot of it existed, but I got all my kids doing it now because I learned it later. I'm like, you got to start now. I mean,
Yep.
it's like health, compounding interest, right? The more you do the right thing, the results are going to be better 20 years from now. And I see that, especially being down here in Florida, where it's, a big retirement community. There's dudes that are worth. I had a guy come in, he's a new patient. He said, Steve, I'm worth $15 million and I can't do anything. I would give it all away if I could get all my joints, my spine back. He gets migraines, vertigo.
Mm.
And, after 3 adjustments, he's like, I'm a new man. I'm like, good. Give me $1 million.
Yeah, right. And listen, if his hip costs $1 million to replace, he'd pay it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're charging him $65 a visit. I'm like,
Right. Yeah, sometimes I'm just like,
Yeah,
but,
and
but
and we've got we've got that laser focus in the office because he's gonna be functioning better under care. For $65 a visit, he's gonna be functioning better. He's gonna start healing better. Will that limitations of matter go away? No, but it'll get better. And you're not trying to rub everything on him. You're not trying to shock him. You're not gonna shock wave him. You're not gonna e-stem him. Because we can be anything we want to be, but we can't be everything. I'm gonna be a
some people
chiropractor.
and
I'm
I
gonna be a
think,
chiropractor.
even, because we are talking about money, I think that's fine. I feel like, if you do it right, it's kind of like getting adjusted over a long period of time. You start off, you build a practice, you start getting some extra income, you buy a small house, you live in that house, then all of a sudden you make a little more money, and then you buy the second one, but you keep the first one, and now it's a rental, and you're renting that one out. Then you can borrow against the other one because now you almost paid up, and you start putting money into 401ks, and you start doing all these little things, but you let them go over time, and you're wealthy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Or you can try to bleed every nickel out of every person because you want to do everything. And listen, there are definitely much richer people than me, but that's not my ultimate goal.
well, my new word is fulfillment. I mean, people used to always say, are you happy? Are you happy? And I'm like, well, yeah, but no, because I was never satisfied.
Mhm.
It was like you write these goals out and then you reach a goal and you're like, the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. But I've learned as I've gotten older to fall in love with the process and the outcomes, to sit back and watch people's lives change. And that's fulfilling. It's like my spirit gets filled up, and that's the whole dynamic essential, is connecting to the spirit within, really is what it means. Am I right?
And people, coaches will tell you don't get cut, but I get fulfilled by, seeing 3, 4 generations, getting asked to speak at a funeral, getting, having relationships with people for 20 something years every week of their lives, and, going to a wedding, and, so it's not, there's a lot of things that I don't need to be their friends, but I love, some of the people that stick around for a long time. They are some of the greatest people, man. I love seeing them.
Yeah. And I think what stops the progression of people, and I texted you last night, Brian, because I spoke at a conference and I had to boogie out. So I had to leave I literally had to leave from the stage to get to the airport to get back for Kane's baseball team was in the States. As I'm heading to the hallway, I came across this guy who came to DE all the time, him and his wife, and they don't anymore. And I just stopped quick, gave him a hug, and he was kind of caught off guard. He's like, "Hey, Steve, how?" And I'm like, "Where have you been?" And then I left. And then a buddy of mine said he had sat with him, and now this dude he had a lot of friends. He was included, and they stopped coming because they felt, I don't know, they didn't feel included enough, and they weren't being asked to speak all the time. And it's like their emotions that we had no idea about got involved, and we lost a great couple because of their emotions that we have no idea about. And I think we have to address that as adults, that we're all fucked up in some way or the other in our head with our past and everything, but don't let it ruin a relationship without even trying to talk about it.
I was shocked at that one because I felt like we were all in.
Yeah.
I put a lot of time. I enjoyed them. I really did. So hopefully maybe I should, and I've reached out a couple times. I know I have, like, hey, I haven't
Mhm.
seen you, miss you, how you doing? But it hasn't been, it's been a while now, but I was shocked at that one. I didn't think that would be the reason. I thought there'd be a different reason that they weren't there.
I thought it was just COVID stuff and
Yeah.
distraction, and I don't know. I'm like, and then they said, or he said, well, I've heard you started this Teams thing, and that seems like that could, help. But we're doing the Teams now to try to. We're always trying to do better because we get to DE one. We're all working, like we're doing
Mhm.
we're in meetings and board meetings and organizing and prepping, and it's hard, you know, it's hard. But and people want to hang out and they want to talk, and we do, but it's typically till midnight, 1 in the morning, if not 2 in the morning. But you're not going to be able to have that deep rooted conversation with anybody. But I'll give my cell phone to anyone and talk to them anytime during the week. I'll talk to them every week just to connect, text. If there's stuff you're working through, I know any one of us here and a lot of the people at DE are wide open to connecting. So I think it's just we got to, with a meeting coming up this Thursday, we're starting out. We got to let these people know it's time to grow the flip up and raise your standard, and let's do this the right way. Like, there's people there's videos popping up now with some old footage. And I literally just saw one before I got on here, and there was like 4 or 5 speakers up there that don't even come anymore, who
Yeah.
went through the same stuff. They figure, why aren't I speaking every time? Why aren't I? We have so many layers of speakers that have to rotate. Every single one of us has offered to sit out, and Dr. Umber, you can't. So you don't tell Dr. Umber no. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about this, because I'm dealing this with my own blockhead. I have my ways of thinking about it. Is it just their significance or what it is?
Yeah,
I wish I had
I
the
think
answer.
yeah, I think like we're all grown ups, we're all adults. If you have your feelings hurt or if you feel like you've been wronged or something, just communicate. It's just like in chiropractic, that communication from the brain to the body's got to be there. If you're not communicating, like we're at a crossroads and nothing's ever going to change. But just communicate. I'm sure some people have felt that I've wronged them, and I'm sure I have in some way. But if I don't know that, I can't ever work through that and make it right and apologize and offer my hand.
For me, I find I'm drawn to the speakers who don't necessarily want to speak. That to me is just authenticity, like, man, there's so many times that I really, really would really like to just sit in the audience and just not be nervous about what my talk is going to be towards the end of the week, not be worried about, whether the sound is right, if there's enough people there, if, the videos get played well, just be back into DE to to, mostly but I wouldn't change it for the world, but I don't need to speak to feel significance. Like, I was scared to death to speak, and I was just kind of pushed into it by DE, and I'm appreciative. I think it's made me a better human, a better chiropractor, but it certainly wasn't because I couldn't. And I always tell this from stage, I never want to speak at DE. I just want to raise my kids there.
Yeah.
So when I find that people get offended by, me and Steve kind of, when we're in our dark places, we'll just be like, F off, go screw. Like, what do you, but you got to realize that everybody's in a different spot, and so I just try to lovingly coax them into, we've got a lot of speakers, and we get our speakers from within, and sometimes we got to rotate, and sometimes that means you got to sit.
That's another thing is we have such a solid crew, and especially of younger people that have been coming consistently, that have to be given space to share. One, so they can develop their voice, and two, when it's our time to move on, we have to have a crew ready to take this over. And that's real leadership. It's not like, it's not a show we're putting on. It's a movement we're creating. And that takes a lot of time and energy. People don't see all the Zoom calls and meetings and texting, and some of those texts get ugly too.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's, and people will say, well, that's not really giving, loving, and serving. When I said, hey, you're not speaking this time, they're like, well, I have a lot to share. I'm like, that's awesome. We'll have you in 6 months. Well, that's not giving, loving, and serving. And then they're throwing that in your face. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm not loving today, because you got to wait.
Yeah.
We got someone else who's fired up and has a story to tell. Just do it. Like, we took our, I don't know, I never asked to speak. When you got the tap on the shoulder, dude, it was go time. And to this day, I mean, you mentioned, Brian, about getting nervous. Do you still get nervous? I know before I speak, I feel like I'm going to puke.
Every time. I can't go out to dinner with everybody. I got to go back to the room by myself. You know, I mean, there was a time where you didn't hear my talk for years, probably because you were preparing and trying to be ready, and you're right after me.
And I felt guilty.
And God, we all. I mean, that's the thing. Thankfully I'm not sensitive. I think you should be doing what you need to do to be the best for the people that are there. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about how do we deliver what's best for the people. At the that most impactful. For the people in the audience who might need it maybe a little bit more. Not that we don't need it, but maybe a
Yeah.
little bit more. So I'm never, and same Eddie knows that because I sometimes miss the beginning of Eddie's. I used to, but crap, I'll be worried if I don't get nervous, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Sid used to always ask afterwards, how was my talk? And I don't think he cared that he did a good job so that he could say, I did a good job. It's because he gave such a crap about trying to impact people's lives that he wanted to know if it was a good, impactful for me or for whoever else was there. And I think that's awesome. I want to make an impact if I can. I don't want to just, go up and sound, pretty or, I mean, I look great, but, that's not the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I still get the shakes. That's why I don't carry anything to drink with me. I don't want everybody to see my hand shaking
Oh
because
my
it's just
God.
important. It's just important to me. And not that I don't suck. I don't care if I do suck. I just don't want to waste anybody's time because there's people in that room that this is their
Yeah.
last stand. Like this is it. And if we don't deliver the goods, so to speak, they may go home and close their office.
Yep.
And
Or
that's a
worse.
tragedy. Yep, that's a
Yeah,
tragedy.
that's a big one. And to me, that's the organizational part. And tonight after this, we jump on a speaker's call, right? Like
And then a board meeting after that.
yeah, and then a board meeting, right? And then
And then you've got other.
I got a call after that. So, but I mean, it's the outcome we're looking for is we know there are people flying in. Like we got a text yesterday that a doctor's bringing like 4 or 5 doctors that are in trouble, and they want to know if they could get some help with getting into the conference. And it's
The
like,
registration fees.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I remember the last DE in Clearwater, we had an apparent millionaire doctor trying to sneak in, right? It's like, no, like go pay. But if you're in trouble, we got you. Like we're gonna lift you up. And if they show up regularly, their whole freaking life is gonna transform.
I mean, look at Mike Shrednowski. I mean, if you are in trouble in practice, either get in touch with me and I'll give you, or look up Mike Shrednowski
Long
in
Island.
Kings Park, New York,
Yeah.
and ask him what his life was like 4 years ago. He's 50 years. He graduated with me in 1997. Ask him what his life is like now. And I'm not just talking about his chiropractic life. I'm talking about his love life, his home life, his kid, everything. It is a unreal. We need to get him up more to let people know. Or call Moriarty.
Yep.
Moriarty was done for. I mean, $500,000 in debt, and went to DE, quit his job at a terrible office, opened an office, and just applied the principles really strongly. I mean, I got to give him credit. He went and just put himself out there everywhere, and has turned himself into a millionaire who's traveling the world with his kids, giving them experiences that are phenomenal.
He's on a cruise every month.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I love it for him. You know what? It's not. He doesn't. I believe he doesn't do it to. Oh, look at me. I'm on a cruise. Even though he loves selfies, so part of it is.
Yeah.
But it's because I think he really truly believes that he's been blessed and he wants to give his kids these experiences, and he can go for it.
Yeah, there's no one in that room right now that I was harder on, and I was probably more of an asshole to than him. Just kind of the accountability and saying things in my own dumb way. And now we're great friends. I mean, now it's like he just kept showing up and pushing, and it's like he had to change his state of mind, and he did it. And to see his blessings, man. I mean, just go to his Facebook page.
Yeah. No, honestly, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Andy Harding, the guy's been in practice for
Oh.
15, 20 years. He'll describe total mixer, and he comes through D, and he's just, and he says by all the standards, he was very successful as that kind of guy, but he wasn't fulfilled. Now that you're going to throw that word, he wasn't fulfilled, and he got rid of all that stuff, went from insurance to cash, and is killing it and loving life and loving practice and loving what he's doing. It's amazing.
And let me tell you, he's probably in, and we won't share details, in a very tough, stressful situation in his life.
Yeah.
And he keeps showing up. He comes to
Yeah.
DE because it's where he gets to plug in and build himself up, because he's dealing with a lot. And that, to me, is the bigger picture. It's like going back to people feeling disconnected, etc. That's your emotions coming in and sabotaging you. It's your emotions from your past and what you think you should be getting, whatever it is. Block
Your backpack.
It's your backpack. There you go. If you could just realize to humble yourself and just talk about it, say, hey, I'm upset. This is what's bothering me. I had a guy once, he doesn't come anymore. I gave a talk once, and it was that one talk where I was fired up. I think I threw a glass of water across the room. I was going nuts about my brother and then Tommy, and I was out of my mind. And after my Sparks talk, I was just kind of delirious, right? And the toughest walk is getting off that stage and walking down the. This guy stepped in the aisle. He was the first person. I'll never forget. I hugged him. He gave me a hug. We hugged, and then I let go and went to the next person, because people are waiting. Next person. He called me up the next week, and he was upset with me because I didn't hug him long enough. And I'm like, I kind of went from wanting to say one thing. I said, hey, man, I'm sorry. Like, I should have hugged you longer. I'll give you a longer hug. But I'm like, I hung up the phone. I'm like, I remember going to the room, and I was like, I told Tammy, I feel like I'm going to throw up right now. She goes, man, you left it all out there. Like, it was one of those moments. Yeah. And this guy, whatever his emotional anchor was, I didn't hug him for like 63 seconds. It was only like 34. And I can't be upset with him. That's his thing. So if you're listening to this and tap Drew on the shoulder, tap Brian on the shoulder and say, hey, Judson pissed me off because he didn't hug me long enough. Like, can we talk about this? And let's just get it out there, because if you stop coming and you stop when the shit hits the fan in your life and you need someone to lean on, and there's no better place in my book than DE, then you're going to be in trouble. And,
yes,
and you'll become a shell of what you can be.
Yes. And I can guarantee you this, if you get down to it, Steve Judson's not going to do anything on purpose to try to offend you to not be at DE and not, live a better life.
Yeah.
So if something does happen, it was a bad day, it was a bad time, it was a misunderstanding, it was didn't know, very rarely. I don't think it's going to be, that guy's a total asshole. I don't like him and I don't want to talk to him. So, I mean, but if the problem is that Steve didn't hug you long enough, I would probably recommend tapping Drew on the shoulder, not me.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I'll be waiting.
Drew will handle that much better probably than I.
You know who they need to hug? If people want the best hug in the world, Liz Rassel.
By far. And then followed up with Paul Bloomsack or something. There's just some great people. That is so funny. Liz Rassel has that ability to make you feel like you are the only one she ever wanted to hug in her entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you see her. I love that I love when people have that ability to make people feel like they're the most important person in your world. I feel like Drew has that presence a lot of times to be able to do that. I definitely don't. That's not one of my fortes. I try, not because I don't want to, but it's there's certain people who are just very emotionally connected to people and just do a great job at making them feel like they're amazing. I think I'm better at it than I used to, but still not a Rassel, that's for sure.
And if you really want to go someplace that just puts tons of gratitude in her heart, think about, there's these people that are coming, these 4 or 5 people that needed help to get to DE. Think about if somebody didn't tell us 25, 30 years ago, hey, go to DE. I'm coming to DE. You should come with me. But what's that? You just need to come. And we followed because somebody told us to. And if we didn't do that, there is no telling what shape I would be in right now.
Well, it's not just that, Drew. It's not just that. You also decided to commit and continue going.
Yep.
So it's not just, plenty of people come one time or 2 times or even for 5 years. And then they, and I know people in my life who absolutely are phenomenal DE docs and haven't been there in years, but still hold the line, do great things, have great relationships, all stuff. Could they probably be better if they were there? Absolutely. But, not everybody falls apart, just because they're not there. But statistically, I don't want to take that chance. And I think it's much more likely. And I think most people are better human beings when they have a tribe of, a group of people who they can rely on, trust, and, who they can lean on in tough times and great times, learn from or even teach. I think it's so important for people, to, well, they're doing this well. They don't need to be there. They have a duty to other humans and other chiropractors and other, people on the planet to try to then help others reach the success that they have, you know, accumulated.
Yep. Yep. And it's just like Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. They didn't stop practicing. They still went to practice. We still
Greatest of all
and
time.
at DE, they're going to be 530, 560 people there, whatever it is. And really, I just love being with them. I want to be there.
Yeah.
I
And
want to
it's like a
see
family
my
reunion every
friends.
three
Yep.
months.
I
Yeah.
want to see my friends.
It's hard when I'm talking to like my non-chiropractic friends for them to understand the level of friendships that I can have in this, in your work,
Mhm.
stuff. But maybe not everybody wants these kind of, I don't know. It always confuses me. So I don't really know.
Maybe we're just weird.
Sometimes I'm just like, that's what I was just like, maybe we're just weird. Maybe, we enjoy the fact that I can get together with people. I can go travel with families. There's just such great camaraderie, which is just a side effect or a side benefit of you know of just having this place. It's such a sacred place to me. I don't even know I don't know how people don't do it.
Well, I mean, you look at people that will, I have a couple friends that they're in AA, right? And when sometimes they go on vacation, they're having a moment and they find a meeting, right? I really can't relate to, right? But they're 26 years sober and they'll be on vacation with their family and they'll call me. Just want to connect. I'm on my way to a meeting. I'm like, you're okay? I said, yeah, I just got to connect with some of the people. It's that kind of vibe, man. It's like having a place to just kind of tap in. It's like plugging in your cell phone, charge up, and then get back at it. Because the stress of life, I've told my kids since they're babies, life sucks. Suck it up. You'll be all right. And it's like in practice, like I'm in practice starting over down here, man. There's days I'm like, holy crap, are you kidding me? I'm 57 years old. Like, I can't wait to get to DE and get around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even have to say anything to anybody, just breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a breath of fresh air, especially, and the longer you're in this game, the more shit gets thrown at you oftentimes. Especially, that's what I'm finding out right now. Because I'm kind of, in my practice, in my world, on the tailer end of practice, but because I have such a family long term patient base, you know, when I was 26 and I started these 60-year-olds, they're 88 now, they're 90. And if you've been in this long enough, it's not always fun. I mean, listen, none of us are getting out of this alive. Yes, they do. A lot of them will always say, I got this going, I got this, but can you imagine where I'd be if I wasn't here? You know what I'm saying? And they remind me sometimes, of that. But it can be humbling. Like right now, I probably have like Wednesday's all the seniors. I just attract them, and they've been there forever. And this one's going through dementia. This one's got Parkinson's. I'm just being honest. That I'm sorry. Even with chiropractic, we're all going to have something. We're all going to die. I hope I just go to sleep one night and die and don't have any, disease or anything like that. But my world, it happens. So, but it's humbling. So it's great to go to a place where you can go and just, sit and share and be with your people and break it down and recharge and get ready to go. Like this is it. I do this for a reason and I'm glad I'm doing it.
Yeah, and get your tribe where it's not like you have to get on a Zoom call every day. Sometimes it's like one of y'all will send a text real quick or a YouTube video. And it's just like, boom, that's it. My day is set. That got me back on track. And y'all don't even know it. It just happens like that.
I've gotten texts like, hey, you got a minute for a call? And the call is like, listen, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think of that idea? And I'm like, we'll just talk off the ledge to each other, It's just a sounding board for 5 minutes and then, okay, we're good. Let's move on.
Steve, I think that's a bad idea.
I didn't
don't
mention any
say that.
names when I was doing that.
How many times I've heard that, Steve? But you know what it is? I know there's a lot of people that can be called that aren't going to give it straight because there's like an intimidation factor or something. I don't get it.
Right.
Like you're real people don't give a shit how people perceive you or think you are. Like a friend, a brotherhood, a sisterhood, doesn't is got your best interests in mind, and they're going to be honest. I remember someone once was asking Eddie. We were me and this individual was at a conference together, and this person spoke and messaged Eddie because he then texted me, "What did Steve think of my talk?" And he said, "Well, just ask him and just be ready for the truth." I was never asked.
Yeah.
And I'm
Soccer.
like, in life, if we can't be honest, and it doesn't mean that I'm right and I'm the pure judge, but I'm going to be honest and say, hey, it was good, but you could do better, right? You definitely, one, don't wear that outfit, two, hold yourself to a higher standard, and three, be prepared, I'm going to be honest. Otherwise, it's like, I'm not going to call Brian and say, hey, I got something to run by you. And if you say bad idea, I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm going to say, well, that's what I called you for. Cool, done. I'm going to get on to my next thing.
And you might not follow the advice, but we trust each other pretty good, and I think we know each other pretty well also, which is kind of cool when you have friends, and I think you have friends that even provide different roles for you. Like that's one of my roles for you is okay. Before I punch this guy in the face, maybe I should ask Lieberman what he thinks because he tends to see things the same as me, but also will kind of tell me the truth if he thinks. But Drew is going to be maybe provide something else. There's a reason you'll call Drew over calling me for something in your life, and vice versa, and all those things. And I think that's what's so great about having. I'm just in shock that I have. For me to have more than one friend that I consider to be like one of my close is shocking. But to have six,
Yeah.
I mean, I got my one best friend from high school. I got my one best friend from chiropractic school, and then I've got like three from DE that are that's family, like every one of them. And and then one actually I have a local guy. Kevin. Kevin. I'm like, yeah, I call Kevin my best friend here. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the guy I get to see on the boat on the weekend every week. We hang out all the time, families and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed to have some really, really good friends, more than I thought, because I don't like a lot of people. So so to have this many is pretty cool.
So let's wrap this up. We got to get ready for our next meeting. Drew, what's the intention you see going into this DE meeting?
Man, just come with a clear message. Come with a open heart, open eyes, open ears, and don't come with any preconceived notions about what this weekend's going to be. Come with a yellow legal pad, a sharpened pencil, and just sit there, listen, and don't take notes on every single thing. Just be present sometimes, but then when something just hits you, write that down. And when you get done of the evening, before you go to bed, look over that stuff again. Keep it with you and know that you're in the place to be the best person, best chiropractor, best husband, best wife, best child, best parent that you can ever be.
Amen. Brian?
As you're saying that, I really just a few things just jumped in my head, and it kind of reminds me of that story of going down to like Florida. You move down to Florida, guys walking on the beach, and you're like, "Hey, how are the people down here?" And the guy's like, "Oh, they're jerks. They're this or that." And then the guy who's from there says, "Yeah, that's exactly how we are." And then somebody else comes and says, "Oh, I've heard they're great people," and that's it. If you can come, it's why I love adjusting babies because they're not sitting there thinking, "Is this guy a jerk? Does he want my money? Does he want?" We do a lot to try to make sure that you don't feel sold to, you don't think there's ulterior motives, that there's a purity from the stage that really just wants to help you become the best version of you. But Steve said it earlier about just trying not to be too sensitive. Listen, we have Muslims, we have Jews, we have a lot of Christians, we have atheists, we have women, we have whites, blacks. We have all of it. You're not going to resonate with every speaker. And if you could just try not to let your feelings get hurt, if you can try and say next, let me hear the next speaker. If 75% of the speakers say things that you don't align with, don't come back. Or come back because you need it. I don't know the answer. All I'm saying is that if we could try to be just present and see what I used to always say, take what you need, leave what you don't. Just find the gems. There are gems in every speaker that are going to come up there. If you can look for the gems rather than looking for what we call the chinks in their armor, like, oh, I knew that he wasn't this, or I knew it, maybe just coming in with an open heart of like, that Brian Lieberman doesn't need to be up there, doesn't want to hear himself speak, but he truly wants to try to make a difference in somebody's life sitting out there in the audience. Because I promise you, 75% at least of our speakers want that more than anything else. And it's probably higher, but I just didn't want to, BS, because we got some egos too. We got it all. But I've never been around a place where the ultimate goal is just not to sell you anything, not to try to sign you up for shit, but just to actually try to help you figure out how to be the best version of you in all areas of your life.
That's right.
Yep.
Well said, my man. Well said. We missed Eddie on this call. I think he was doing an orientation and Brad got caught up late. We'll get him on. We'll get him on the post DE call.
Look forward to it.
My Nate was telling me during this, we'll get Shredinowski on a call with the three of us. How's that, Brian?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I know you were the arm that pulled that kid in. So we'll have to do that. We'll schedule that, Drew. All right,
I'd love it for him.
I love you all. Looking forward to seeing you there. I'll see you in like 10 minutes on the next call. Ciao.
Love and appreciate you guys.
Wake Up Humans experience.
Prepare attack! Wake up, humans! Feel the fire!
Brought to you by Boondocks Coffee, LifeDE.com, Experience DE Radio. And for all your gear, visit wakeuphumans.org. Spread the word. Become part of the movement.
How's your atlas?
This has been a copyright of Dr. Steve Judson.
Wake up!